We're going to talk about average daily rates. So in Thailand, what we have really seen is that the rate has really been pushing up. So there's two lines that you need to look at here, the gray and the blue. So basically what we have seen is that on 2022, by about half of the year, we already have seen that the rate has been pushed up and it's already have overtaken the rates of 2019. And so that's a good thing. Now, what would be interesting to see is this comparison between the average daily rate and the consumer price index. So this is actually a good news. We are seeing a healthy rate for Thailand market. Now, what does it mean is that the rate, the ADR, is growing faster than the inflation. So that's a good thing for everyone here. Now, interestingly, so this is what we have forecasted for Thailand. So there's two markets here that we are showing, Singapore and also Bangkok. Now, the music has kind of stopped because we are seeing that for the next about 15 months, rate is going to flatline. So it doesn't mean that the rate is going to drop, but it's not going to grow as expected as like of 2022. Now, let's talk about choices. So when the borders has opened, two markets here that we are showing, Bali and Phuket. Now, Bali obviously has a good upswing in terms of occupancy. They have the G20 that has pushed up some demand and also more flights towards the end of the year. But Phuket is also has enjoying a good year end with the demand. So you got the Indian tourists, you got the Russians, and also some other key markets that has pushed up the demand for Phuket market by end of the year. And of course, take note, this particular upswing in terms of occupancy is not driven with the Chinese tourists, so with the absence of the Chinese tourists. So that's a good thing for Phuket market. Now let's look at the growth across markets. We got the beaches, we got the south, and also the city. Now when you look at the green line, you got Bangkok also at the same level in terms of performance. But when it comes to the rate, it's kind of not winning against the other markets. So whether it's in the beach central or in the south, Bangkok, the city, is not fairly doing well when it comes to recovery or pushing up the rates as of the end of the year. Okay. Now, the global story generally is the demand in terms of recovery came from the lower tier. Now, interestingly for Thailand, it's the other story. It is the luxury and the upper tier basically are the ones that is driving the recovery for occupancy. So that is a good thing. So whether in the beach, in the south, or the city, it's really about the upper tiers that are moving past recovery rate in terms of occupancy. Now, when it comes to the rate, so this is for the fourth quarter. So the South Thailand is generally enjoying a good performance. So in terms of rate, we've seen Krabi, we've seen Pattaya also growing, Koh Phangan and Koh Samui. Now, interestingly, during the pandemic, it was the Hua Hin that's generally on the positive side when it comes to the rates, but South Thailand is definitely enjoying a good performance by the end of the year. Okay, now let's put our finger into Bangkok more. So we're gonna dig deeper into Bangkok market. So the story with Bangkok market is generally when it comes to occupancy, it is obviously your Sukhumvit is driving more performance in terms of occupancy level. You got River and Siloam also moving on a good performance in terms of occupancy, but it's also expected for overall Bangkok. When it comes to the rate, now this is something very important. You got the Siloam and the Riverside pushing up the rate performance, but when it comes to Sukhumvit, well, it's just really pushing up a little bit in terms of recovery. And if we look at that from the nominal ADR, it's not really doing well as compared to the Riverside and Siloam. Obviously, for the surrounding, well, there's not much appetite for the surrounding. That's why, the rate is not as far than that of the Riverside. All right. So we are looking here at the forward-looking data. So generally, the South Thailand, as expected, was doing very, very well. However, that when we looked at the 90 days performance, well, you've got a good base of business. So your base of occupancy is good. But unfortunately, we're not seeing much of an uptick, even when the Chinese tourists are expected to come in. All right. So my key takeaway really is that it's a sign of recovery for Thailand market. Now, even when we have seen the performance in terms of rate, in terms of occupancy for Thailand, it's doing well as of last year, by the end of the year, even before the Chinese tourists are in. But when we looked at the 365 days performance, just about by this month, we didn't really see any notable uptick yet. So it's just a matter of time when they starts to come in. Now, the concern is for Bangkok. Bangkok obviously are missing on that braid party business. Now, there's the high cost of operating business in Bangkok, but also the new supply. So particularly, Sukhumvit will be very much in the pressure area. And of course, I'm gonna end it with a bang. Thailand is obviously a great destination. So you can see as compared with Bali, Phuket is still doing very well. So Thailand is still the most favorite destination and people love to come in. So that's a positive note I'm gonna end with for Thailand market. Thank you.